So you know what's up. You saw talent from the 6. You know we had to get the rest of the world in the mix. The urban franchise, Tony Montana. Gonna sit at the desk for guessing. Show you what they're about to. Tell you who they are. Let them promote what they got going on. And show you guys how awesome they are. Cause if they weren't awesome, they wouldn't be on the show. It is Down to Talk with Tony Montana, baby. We have the most, and 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 we have the most. What is going down, peeps? I am the urban franchise, Tony Montana. And this is another edition of Down to Talk with Tony Montana. I am joined today by Dynasty, Battle Arts Academy graduates, one of the hottest factions in wrestling today. We got the Lionheart, Mikey Truth, the Takedown King, Jaxon Roy. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys.
No problem.
Absolute privilege to have you guys here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
It's an honor. It's an honor. I'm a huge wrestling fan. You were the first wrestlers I'm interviewing
Whoa.
from Toronto.
Appreciate that.
So this is like I'm hyped right now. I'm gonna fanboy out during this interview.
Pressure on us.
Exactly.
Pressure because this could go any way. You know what I mean? No pressure, but hey, thank you. It's an honor. Appreciate it. I really appreciate that.
Definite honor.
Unfortunately, Sway Archer is not able to join us today, but he will join us on the follow-up interview. So let's start off. Let's start with your origin stories. Where did the love come from? What got you into the industry?
Go ahead, go take it.
So,
go ahead.
Start from my childhood. I started watching wrestling when around like 2001. I started watching during the Invasion era. So I started off with WWE. The first wrestler I ever saw was Booker T.
Nice.
He was a representation of, obviously, his representation. And when I just saw him on my screen, he just influenced me to, hey, this is something I want to do. This is a guy I can relate to. This is a guy who's entertaining. And as the time went on, me just watching wrestling, I eventually got into amateur wrestling. So I started doing amateur wrestling when I was in the 9th grade. And when I first started off in amateur wrestling, I didn't actually believe it was like on the mat amateur wrestling. I thought it was WWE wrestling. So when I came to the gym, I was like, "Where's the ring at?" I was like, "Where's the ring?" Because I wanted it to be professional wrestling. But afterwards the coach is like, "No, this is amateur wrestling. You're gonna wrestle on the mat." So I did that for about 5 years. Did amateur wrestling, and it's helped me. It's helped me with my journey into professional wrestling. But it just all started off with childhood, flipping through the channels. You find WWE, you watch it, you do it with your friends at birthday parties, you wrestle. They say, "Oh, don't try this at home," but you're still gonna try it at home. You know what I mean? So it just started with that with me. Booker T, Rob Van Dam, Eddie Guerrero, guys like that kind of really inspired me to get into this business.
Right on.
Yeah. For me, like him as well, it's a very similar story. I have also a little amateur wrestling background, so like same way as a kid, I wanted to get into professional wrestling. I'm a 90s baby, so I have my fond memories with my nonna, my grandparents and stuff like that. My parents is watching WWE with the neon entrance back in that day. And, the Ric Flairs, the Shawn Michaels, the Bret Harts of the world, you know what I mean? So, like, I was growing up seeing that whole era, the transitions between WCW, ECW, flicking between the channels, making it home from school to catch WCW, ECW, and stuff like that. So I followed wrestling throughout its whole, like, evolution from, like, the late 90s going to the early 2000s to the birth of NWA, TNA, ROH, CZW. The list goes on to our current era. So lifelong pro wrestling fan, and the wrestling itch has always been there for me. It's just a matter of when can I take advantage of that moment, and it's like life skills, right? You go through life, whether it's school and your responsibilities, and then now find that opportunity to just dive in deep. Was that, but like the inspirations to really go out and do it goes similar. Booker T, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, especially the guys that were close to my stature, seeing that they were in the land of the giants, especially back then, where most wrestlers were big guys. 6 foot was small back then. Being 6 foot was small back then. So like seeing guys that were under 6 feet doing it and being successful, the guys like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, the whole cruiserweight division takeover that happened throughout WCW, ECW era, and then filtered into WWE.
Yeah.
That's where it got me, and it made it all make sense, and also the theatrics. You always want to make that entrance, you know what I mean? Hit your music going, make that entrance, but yeah, man,
absolutely. Yeah.
That's where it all started.
So, lifelong fans, I get that.
Lifelong fans, you know, that's how we all start off.
One thing I gotta ask you guys: the adjustment from WWE to WWF. How hard was that? Like, you started closer to when it happened, but you were from back in the new generation days.
Yeah.
What was the adjustment like? Was it easier for you?
Well,
I guess it was easier for me because I just started watching. Like, I started watching in 2001.
Yeah.
I believe it's still called WWF.
Yeah.
But I didn't start watching like week after week until around like 2003. So it was already called the World Wrestling Entertainment. It's already WWE. So I guess for me it was pretty easy. Just, you know, watching and just seeing like the WWE logo, you know, I did like the WWF logo, and like when it was called the World Wrestling Federation Championship. But of course, you know, these things happen. You know, the Panda organization took over, so yeah, man, it was easy.
Rights, man.
Animal rights, you know.
First.
So it was pretty easy for me. Yeah. So
for me, like I guess me and you similar. For me, I'm 31 years old, so I'm 1990, but my era where I was born in. So for me, I seen the whole transition. It was kind of weird. It was very weird because it didn't make sense. We already knew that there was a WWF in a way, and those that realized and you can differentiate the two, you know what I mean? Yeah. But obviously copyright, as we're learning with YouTube and all these things nowadays and the streaming services nowadays, we're learning about copyright and being educated on that, really knowing the importance of that. So that became a big play with that and making the transition. Also the transition of the WWF's mentality going into entertainment now and focusing on not only making larger than life characters, but making pop culture big superstars, you know what I mean? Not just superstars, just the name and the logo, but actual world-renowned superstars that can transition into movies, commercials, television shows. I think that was the key understanding, and then you kind of get it once you see The Rock's success, Stone Cold's success, and so forth, you know what I mean? So after a while, like anything, you get used to it and you just roll with it, you know what I mean? And now it's like second nature. You kind of even forget that it was WWF.
Yeah, that's true.
That is true. You just forget it was WWF, you know?
I think it was like up until like 7 years ago, I kind of would occasionally slip, and then that's what's like the World Wrestling Entertainment locked, because it's like The Rock really blew up. It's like the Hollywood, all that really stood out. So it's just like you saw the entertainment.
And at the same time, you can kind of like connect with an older generation too when you bring up WWF. You kind of see the sand in the line of where the fandom is too, so that's pretty cool too. So hey, I like the difference of the eras, and we're seeing the transition of this new era, the WWE now. So it's funny how the WWE since 10 years ago has changed to now.
Yeah,
you know
that
what
is
I mean?
true.
So
it has evolved a lot. It really has.
The whole industry has evolved. The whole pro wrestling industry has evolved.
It's just like the women's division in WWE is the biggest example, because it's like, when's the last bra and panties match been?
I don't even think they'll get sued if they probably do that now. You know what I mean? But
different era.
It's a different era. It's a different era, and the women demand respect. The women have respect now in the ring. Their in-ring work has respect on their names now. You know what I mean? The women are putting on better matches than most of the guys nowadays.
That's
so
true.
It's just a different time in our world,
time.
you know? Like that stuff. Maybe it could fly back in the day. Today it couldn't fly. But the women have been putting in work. They've been just showing that they can hang in there and that they can put on great matches. So big up to what they're doing right now with the women's division.
And the thing is, the women's wrestling has been a big thing, even going back to the 90s. If you want to look back in Japan, none of this stuff is new. Everything in this whole women's revolution that they're bringing up in WWF, WWE now, these things have been happening. TNA happening in Japan, ROH way back, you know what I mean? So, hey, WCW as well, ECW as well. So, it's just how they control a narrative in a sense, you know what I mean? And how they project their product to the people, to the masses.
So let's talk about, when did you guys discover the indies?
Go ahead.
When I discovered the indies, I would say around like the mid 2000s. I forgot to mention actually TNA.
Yeah.
I actually grew up watching TNA as well.
Right on.
But just seeing Ring of Honor
Mm-hmm.
and just seeing guys like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson or Samoa Joe, just seeing those guys come from that smaller promotion and just seeing like the different style of wrestling that they were doing on that show.
Yeah.
It was so different than WWE. I believe I was just flipping through the channel like once again, and then I see Ring of Honor. It's like I'm seeing these guys doing these hard kicks, these hard strikes. I was like, "What is this?" See, it's Ring of Honor, and after that, I just started tuning in, seeing, like I said, Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles as well, who's also a big inspiration for me. Just the way he moves in the ring and how crisp he is in the ring. And also I started watching PWG. So that's how I kind of discovered Kevin Steen, now known as Kevin Owens. Watching PWG, watching Ring of Honor, a little bit of Dragon Gate as well growing up. So yeah, around the mid-2000s, I started like discovering a little bit about the independent scene.
Right on.
And just a fantastic time too. Just fantastic wrestlers. You just see how they started from that era and now they're in WWE, but that time was different, man. Like those guys were just like proving themselves. They wanted to prove like, hey, I deserve to be in WWE. I deserve to be on the big lights, being the big show. So I feel like they were just like going so hard at that time. So it was a great time to watch.
Oh yeah.
And they still are going hard.
They are still going hard, absolutely.
They're creating the foundation for some of the promotions that are still going today, and they create the foundation for AEW and create the foundation for this whole territory scene that we're seeing where guys are working various different promotions. They have really laid the foundation for this whole new generation of pro wrestling for us to grow and learn from, you know what I mean? So for me, it goes back to, again, like I said, I followed the transition of the different eras of pro wrestling. So I guess when I was around and watched it live when WWE, Shane McMahon was at WCW Nitro and said, I bought the company. I was watching that as a kid. I was a kid when I was watching that. So I seen that whole transition. And then when you realize that, like, when there was only one show in town, how dull and boring it was terrible. So for me personally, that's the hit of the internet. So downloading was booming all that time. So from the transition of people trading tapes to downloading shows, whether it took you a day to download an ROH show, you're gonna do it.
That's true.
You're gonna do it. So like those are the times where you'd go on forums and you'd find out about these promotions. So it was with me. I was always the kid that always liked alternatives, whether it's alternative music, alternative bands, independent artists, underground artists. I was always, what's the new underground scene? I've always been like that from when I was a kid. It's just something that's been passed down through my family, just the culture, you know what I mean? So being tapped into that, I did the research and just looking in what other promotions are outside of WWE. Just simple, you know what I mean? And I find out that there's NWA TNA, which was doing the weekly pay-per-views at the time. I ran up that Rogers bill.
I did too.
I got beats running up that bill.
Me too.
Trust me. So when I found out about NWA TNA, you got like the first like 30 minutes free. So you'd catch that for the first 30 minutes, and then you'd purchase that was like the little selling thing that Rogers at the time for pay-per-views, and you'd end up purchasing. So I caught on to NWA TNA. And I realized there's so much familiar faces from WCW that weren't on WWE at the time that didn't get signed. What's going on here? ECW's gone. And then I'm like, what's a replacement for ECW? I found out ROH, CZW. So now I'm watching NWA TNA, ROH, CZW, WWE. And then I'm realizing, there's PWG. Then there's Shimmer. There is Evolve. All these promotions are popping up all over the place. There's a whole grassroots where you realize before you get into WWE, these guys are making the moves in different territories. Then you realize that how WWE was even formulated was they picked up the best talent from every territory throughout the world, and that's what made World Wrestling Federation. So in reality, it was always the independent talent that made WWE what WWE is.
Absolutely.
So realizing that, I just dug deep into the independents and just fell in love with the indies.
Exactly.
And that is what revitalized my love for wrestling, because I was falling out of love with wrestling.
Yeah.
I didn't really like WWE anymore because of the direction it's going in. A lot of the matches were dull, boring, and the same, and repetitive. Storylines were being dull, boring, and the same, and repetitive. But the independence was fresh. It was new. They were trying new things.
Yeah.
There was guys my stature, bigger, that were doing things that are my stature and as agile as me. So it's like there's a whole new perspective on athleticism and the fundamentals of pro wrestling that brought me into the independence, and I couldn't look back since.
You know, it's interesting. Like, I had a similar experience around that time. It was like when I just turned 18, so I started partying and stuff and chasing women.
So sorry to cut you there. Yeah. So you're 18. I was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
Seeing that, you know what I mean? So that just shows the dynamic of different generations.
Yeah.
We were both feeling the same thing. There's something missing, and we end up finding it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, for me, XPW. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember. Yep, I was gonna get into that. Yep.
Saw that. I remember seeing Chaos wrestle with the belt on. I was like, "Yo, this guy is insane." Those matches you used to have. Oh my god.
He actually has a training camp called Santino Bros.
Yeah.
In Cali. Shout out my homie Joey. He's training out
also
there.
a YouTube channel where
man.
they just post a bunch of like wrestling techniques and everything like that. So they're doing.
He's still going. He's still going.
It was XPW. The NWA TNA popped up, as you guys said, and that's where we got all those like WCW and ECW guys who kind of just like fell off the map. You guys remember World Wrestling All Stars?
Yep. I remember Wrestling Society X.
Oh yeah, the
Wrestling
MTV
Society
one.
X.
Yeah,
The MTV boot one. Yeah, like there's a whole realm of just different independence that was happening, and you realize that there's wrestling not only just state-wise. There's wrestling, there's independent wrestling in Mexico, independent wrestling in Japan. It's worldwide, all over the world, and these guys are making a name for themselves worldwide. They're worldwide names for a reason. It's because they're getting their reps, they're earning and creating their craft all around the world in various different promotions around the world. And WWE turns out to be the main place where you want to take your talents to the next level and cross over to the TV entertainment side of things. Is where I start to realize, you know what I mean? So watching guys, like I said, the Amazing Reds, the Rey Mysterios, the Eddie Guerreros, them going making those rounds and working with guys like Amazing Red, working with guys like Loki, Samoa Joe in ROH and stuff like that, you realize that like whether you're in the WWE or not, you still come back into the indies, make your name, make your rounds, and still raise your stock and still create that platform, that territory that we have and foundation that we have till this day.
So let's start back. You guys talked a bit about your amateur background. So let's start where you guys started your training. Battle Arts Academy. That's where you guys both started, or?
No.
So I started in high school. I started doing amateur wrestling in the 9th grade. I started with that. I think I wrestled around like 83 kilos, so like 180 pounds. I've competed in several tournaments. I competed in city championships. At one point, I was actually ranked in the top 50 in Toronto. Right. I think my name was like in a newspaper at one point. Went to OFSA, didn't place unfortunately, but didn't lose by pinfall. I just got lost by points, so that's pretty proud of that. But yeah, I started amateur wrestling in grade 9, did it for 5 years. I've also done wrestling camps at Extreme Couture in Etobicoke. So I've trained with guys like Greg Jones, who is a former NCAA wrestling champion, so I've trained under him. I've trained with Neil, who's also the amateur wrestling coach at Battle Arts Academy. Just doing wrestling camps and just, working on my amateur wrestling craft, which is ultimately has helped me with pro wrestling, just with footwork and just doing different type of takedowns. Like that's why they call me the Takedown King. Yes, so it just helped me with different type of takedowns and a different style, similar to Kurt Angle. But I also just want to create make my own path and not be as compared to Kurt Angle. But yeah, just amateur wrestling has helped me.
Right on. Yeah.
Me personally, I wasn't as so serious as Jaxon. Me personally, it was like after school program and stuff. So whether it was after school, I started when I was in like grade 5, grade 6. I went up to like grade 9. That's when I kind of like faded out of it. Different gyms throughout the city. One of the primarily ones was Combat Arts with a K though. And that was one of my main gyms that I was doing amateur wrestling, but also my dad does jiu-jitsu, so I dabble in different crafts and different disciplines in mixed martial arts, but not just amateur wrestling, which has helped not only with flexibility, submission work, like with him, takedowns, even just subtle and smooth movements in the ring, you know what I mean? And just having that body control has been the key factor at me. How I got out of amateur wrestling was acting. I'm an actor, a unionized actor for TV and film. So once I got into that lane, was the toss-up. Because when I was younger, I wanted to go to the Olympics. That was like a goal in my mind. But then when you realize that acting, you get paid, you're on TV, getting beat up all the time, which one pays more? College is coming up, you got to make some choices here. That was the choice. That was the toss-up. So I got into acting. I was doing acting for the past like 10 years, 13 years now, time. So that acting has helped me throughout that time get through school. It's helped me just build networks and very familiar faces from in combat world has crossed over into the acting world. And that's the same thing I'm realizing in wrestling too. Fellow folks that are in pro wrestling cross over into the entertainment and film and TV industry as well. So like from when I was a kid, it's just something that I dived into, never really took it too deep in going to tournaments and stuff like that. But it is an extracurricular activity for me.
So let's get into your training in the professional wrestling world. How did that start?
So basically for me, I believe I saw a Instagram post from Battle Arts. They were having a free trial for anyone. And I just, at the time, like I was, I finished school. Everything was aligned, so like I just took this opportunity, like here's a free trial, let me finally go and do this thing, because I actually wanted to do it years ago, but like I didn't have the money to do it. My life wasn't all together, so like at that time, like I felt like it was like a sign that like, look, you got to do this stuff now. So I went there, did a little bit of training there, and then our coach now, Coach Nick. Watch the table. Coach Nick, who's our coach currently right now. He saw something in me. He said, "Look, you have potential. What do you think about joining the gym and actually coming back and training for real, not just with this trial, actually training with us?" And without a second thought, I jumped on it and I joined the gym. So I started in November of 2020, 2021, sorry. So I was there for about 2 weeks, but then unfortunately, the second lockdown happened. So it was kind of, I just got hit with the second lockdown. So I was very upset about that. But at the same time, I was still, during that time, I was still training, working out, going to the gym, just trying to keep myself in shape, so that when like we come back, like I haven't lacked in anything. I'm still in shape, still able to move in the ring. So we came back in July, and I believe I lost about 10 pounds from then. And I cut down, slimmed down. I was just ready to get back in there. And ever since then, I've just been, training, working hard, coming to practices from Monday to Thursday, just training hard. And so working my butt off, and then working with this guy as well, just doing some drills with him, just seeing how, working with guys who are not your size, and just who are probably quicker than you, so it also helped with my cardio as well. So just started in November. Took a little time off with that stupid pandemic, and then I'm back and we're ready to go.
For me, I'm probably one of the few that have seen Battle Arts evolution, and it's evolving and it's transition. So I've gone from going out there just to check out the shows when it first just opened up, to check out the gym when it first initially opened up, when Anthony was running everything, did the grand opening. We had like the WWE stars come in. I was there checking it out, and then as the months went past, they had the free month passes that they'd advertise. So I'd take advantage of that.
Absolutely.
I was in school at the time, and I had work as well, so I was trying to balance just life and responsibilities. So whenever there was like a free month pass opportunity, I jumped to it and got in there with Get Reps. So at the time, I was not only taking classes with Anthony, but also Toy Yoki Ishikawa, who is the original Battle Arts promoter and one of the original faces for the original Battle Arts in Japan. So I was blessed with that opportunity to get a little bit of his teaching as well with the transitions I have in Freedom Wallace, who runs Junction City Wrestling. Buck Gunderson was also running classes there as well with us, and still do some little training classes with us, and helps us get through some drills. So those are guys that have been there since day one, that's still there, that help out as they can within their schedule. And just seeing that transition, just seeing just the shows and the evolving of shows that were coming in out of there. Not only Destiny, but Impact ended up doing shows. When Impact came to Toronto, I was doing shows in Toronto and became a Canadian promotion, household promotion out here. Impact was housed at Battle Arts. So not only did they had Impact, but they had the NXT trials also hosted at Battle Arts as well. So I seen a lot of the guys that were training before me at Battle Arts in the pro wrestling program get these opportunities, work hard for these opportunities to get into these tryouts and get these looks, and seeing that this is real, this can actually happen. And I'm living like 15 minutes away. Originally, I was gonna come and train out here in Toronto. I remember back in college, Rob Fiego had a school. This is where Gail Kim, Edge, Trish Stratus, they all graduated from. But when I ended up going to the school was closed. So it's one of those like movie moments. Where you drive to the school and the school's closed. You're looking in the window. You're like, no one's here. My dreams. You make the drive back home, and then I eventually Battle Arts ended up opening. And I'm originally from Mississauga. So Battle Arts was like 10 minutes away from my house. So I was like, this is meant to be. Went in there, like I said, took advantage of a couple of the months, free passes. I started to really connect with Anthony's father. And Anthony's father was a big pivotal role for me, because times where even money was low, he'd get me in there, he'd be like, yo, just do your thing. Just go in there. And he just let me get like a whole month, 2 months in there to just go out and train and get these experiences. Then end up falling out life experiences, school, work, just life. Getting into other ventures, building up my media company and my media brand. Completely took my perspective off pro wrestling. But it was the pandemic. That's when everything switched. Everything, it was like a restart for everybody. Everything has completely stopped. It's an opportunity to reevaluate your life. What kind of dreams, aspirations do you want to reach for? If things get back to normal, what are your next moves? You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this pro wrestling thing actually seriously. Rather than come to Destiny shows at Battle Arts or Impact shows at Battle Arts or the Rising Stars shows at Battle Arts and just helping out and helping out, clean up and stuff like that, and just paying my dues, so they say. I'm gonna actually take this serious. So during the pandemic, just went in there, head down, and just grind it out. Then again, same thing, a victim of the series of lockdowns. So I made my debut after my birthday, September 12th of 2020. We had a show called Backlot Brawl. It was a 2-night event. The next day we had Destiny as well that was doing a show right after us. So we had that show. I ended up working not only the starting promo to kick off the show, did the first match, and I did a battle royale. So that was when I was like, okay, like Anthony really put me out there. He really told me, yo, get your reps. Like this is it. Take advantage of the moment. And I did that. And then from there, ended up working for Junction City Wrestling. Did a couple shows for them last summer. Took advantage as things opened back up. Took advantage again. Got back in there. Got more reps. And like I said, make those rounds at the independent scene. Just networking around, helping out, making a face, and it just built from there. And just took off. And now getting back into things, I met Jaxon, met Sway. I knew Sway from day one, because Sway is one of the day one guys that was part of Battle Arts since it started, you know what I mean? So I knew Sway from me being in and out of Battle Arts, so we always had a good rapport. But it was during the pandemic where we were just like, okay, maybe things are going to end up pairing with us and the stars are going to end up aligning, because the words were going around of having me and him pair as a tag team. We were already training and
we
running
were already
drills.
talking about
We were already
it, too.
talking about it.
Yeah.
We already were running drills together.
Yeah.
So we already had that chemistry already built with us. We're already doing like 3 days since, not even 2 days, but like 3 days, because they'd have like 4 or 3 classes back to back to back from like 6. So we'd get there at like 6 p.m. and we wouldn't leave till almost midnight. Even after midnight.
So that's we'll just stay there and just keep training.
Keep training. We'd be putting in like 6 to 8 hours and just like work hours, training. You know what I mean? Even whenever people are gone, we're there with Isaiah. Thank God for
That's
Isaiah
a guy
Bronson.
that I actually forgot to mention, Isaiah Bronson.
Yeah.
A huge help for me. Just taking me under his wing and just like showing me the ropes, showing me actually how to run the ropes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just showing me different type of
drills.
drills that has helped with my cardio.
Yeah.
So big shout out to Isaiah Bronson.
It's all good. It's all good.
Big shout out to Isaiah Bronson for just helping me out and, huge help for me.
Yeah, so Isaiah was a big help for a lot of us, especially the pandemic. I like to call it like the pandemic babies, the pandemic wrestlers, because a lot of the wrestlers that are coming out through this pandemic era are going to have a completely different story than any other rest of any other generation, because we're dealing with the world completely stopping. And like we don't know what's to happen next. Everything's completely unexpected than ever before. And then the whole wrestling industry completely changed as we were going. You know what I mean? So for us, it's just like we have to take advantage of every opportunity we have. Every minute, second, millisecond we have in that ring, we got to take advantage of it. And guys like Isaiah that have helped us out, the guys, the new takeover at Battle Arts with AC, David, HWE, the new coaches, Nick, Stone Rockwell, who's known, Rip Impact, Coach Rob, Silk Smooth. Those guys have been key elements to getting us to where we are now, to being able to work certain seminars with Josh Alexander and Serena Deeb and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. The stars all aligned with us, and that's how we end up getting together, from working out and then them seeing that chemistry with us, and then we just took it off from there and just built.
Right on. A lot of those names, are guys who I follow. Because I've been following the indies for, like, Isaiah, I've been following him for a while. Rip Impact, he's on my friends list. So I've been following him for a while.
Good dude.
Rip has been the foundation, I think, pretty sure, for this whole Ontario industry. Definitely. Especially throughout this pandemic scene. It's Rip Impact. He's like heart and soul. Thank you, Rip. Thank you for a lot that he's done, just coming into the Battle Arts Academy on certain days to help us and show us certain ropes. But like, there's a lot of faces throughout the Ontario Independence that have been a pivotal role into helping us elevate, especially during these tough times.
Absolutely.
Now, there's a question I ask everyone about the pandemic, since you guys brought it up. But it sounds like, unlike most of my guests, you guys were busy. You had goals.
Took advantage.
Yeah, definitely advantage.
I'll ask you it anyways. Yeah. At the start of the pandemic, did you become pandemic alkies?
No. I cut off alcohol.
Okay.
I DJ. So go ahead.
Like I said, like during this pandemic, like I just knew that I had to keep training, I had to keep staying in shape. When it came to alcohol, I kind of, I didn't really get to that point. I just knew that like I had to focus on like my diet. My diet's like very important because the gyms are shut down, right? So the next best thing I can do to stay in shape is have my diet be clean. So I just made sure that I might have a little 1-2 beers or something like that, but like as far as like becoming an alky now, I just like my physique was really important to me. Me just being healthy was really important to me. So I would say.
Nah, for me, like I said, I DJ as well outside of this. So outside of this, I also DJ, and you get drinks, bottles handed to you left, right, and center. You know what I mean? And me personally, I was never really a heavy drinker. Really dabbled into drinking too much. The herbs is a different. Herbs and sea moss for the win. But yes, I never really dived deep in it. My idea was like, during this pandemic is the perfect opportunity to stop. So I stopped. Right, huh? I completely cut it out, you know what I mean? And I was always a picky drinker to begin with. Nobody wanted to drink with me. Drinking was never really something that I had to battle throughout this. I know a lot of people have gone through the ups and downs with it. Good, bad, and the ugly and indifferent. But like for me personally, my goal was to create new opportunities, open up new doors, create new ventures for myself. And again, goal for me in my life is to always find a way to monetize your hobbies.
Yeah.
So that's why you don't have an excuse to say you're working. You know what I mean? You're doing what you love.
This is true.
So for me, it was just like, okay, pro wrestling is really starting to pay off. I'm really starting to see the stars align. A lot of guys are really bigging up our name and giving us opportunities and good looks and really saying that we have a high potential to do something here.
Yeah.
Take advantage of this. The world has completely stopped.
Yeah.
Take advantage. So that was my key thing, and it's just focus and just bettering up yourself and elevating yourself to the next level.
No, that's inspiring, especially for a lot of you young fans watching. It's just like, alcohol is fun. You know, you see me on having a cold one with Montana. It's great, having a good time. But when you have goals, these are two dedicated men. They're dedicated to their craft, and that's why they have the success and they're getting the opportunities they're getting because they put it in that work. It's like Dusty said, put in the work, right?
But and again, like I'm not saying we all have our vices. We all have our struggles. We all have our own journeys in life. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the key is balance. If you can find a balance, everything else is smooth sailing in life. And that's the key thing with me, just to find a balance with everything. The moment you find a balance, you're unstoppable in anything that you do.
Right on. So let's come back to, where did the Dynasty name come from?
We're going to take over this one.
So Coach Nick, Stone Rockwell, he is the main coach. He was one of the main guys with the rebuilding of Rising Stars 2.0. They wanted to have a new direction with Rising Stars, as far as with the group of guys, the new trainees that were in training, and then some of the familiar faces that were also coming in. They wanted to start fresh, give everybody a new slate, a fresh new everything, and new opportunities to build your name. Yeah. And also with the merging of in-house promotions, you have Destiny, you have HWE, you have Battle Arts Pro, and then the in-house promotions that are coming in that they'll do shows with Don Call of Arena. Aside from the boxing, the MMA programs, the multi, clinch culture, Thick Boys that have just joined as well with Battle Arts. So there's a whole culture within Battle Arts in itself, and like levels of promotions as you get to the impacts and TV ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So from training, going in there, you're a part of the Rising Stars roster. From when you get your first reps, you're on Rising Stars, you're training, you're building from there, and they want to start something fresh for us. They seen how hungry all of us were, see how dedicated we were on not only just the in-ring work, but character work as well. Bringing out a proper gimmick for people, a fan base and the crowd to be invested in. So that's where it all started from there. And he seen from my promo skills and just my ideas of just developing myself and my character, Mikey Truth, as an individual. He wanted to pair me up. So the idea was to have me part of a tag team or manage as well. So it was Sway and Jaxon Roy. That was the unity right there. That was like the go-to. There was no other choices. He was like, I feel like Jaxon Roy and Sway will be a good match. And like I already was thinking, we already were having these conversations.
After class sessions, we were actually having these conversations about, like, you know what? Like, how about if we do a little
tag team or we link up or we do something?
With both of our backgrounds in culture,
just our Caribbean heritage from all of us. Me, Sway, Jaxon Roy, our heritage. We're all different, but we all have that connected synchronicity with each other. We're all in sync in some weird way. We're all aligned. So it just worked out. So from training and all that, us talking about it, I don't know if Nick's seen us from the side as well. I just put 2 and 2 together. But that's just what it came down to. And Nick pitched the idea to me. I was like, of course. And then we ran it by Jaxon, ran it by Sway. They were definitely down for it as well. And then we just ran with it. Me personally, from the T-shirt, like it came with just a lion. Me, my whole gimmick with the lion heart, the Lion of Judah, our culture. I just felt that would fit. The crown, Takedown King, Sway's gimmick during those times, the Culture King, it just fit. Put the crown on top, and then just the Dynasty name, the whole thing going about it. Just we want to create history and leave a legacy, especially for our people. our heritage, people that look like us, people that are inspired by us, whether the way we look, our size, our physique, just our whole aura. We just we know that we're going to be put in positions where we're going to have to make an example, not only for ourselves, but for those that look up for us or look at us as, I want to do what you're doing. So
I can relate to you.
Exactly.
You look like me, and you're a representation
Exactly.
of me, just like how I said earlier, Booker T was a representation.
Exactly. We know the moment we go out there for shows, there's going to be kids out there that are looking at us and possibly thinking the same thing, even adults. As we see now, currently, there's people that are coming in training that they've seen us work. Just a couple shows as the Dynasty group officially, because this is something fresh over the past year. And people that have come to shows are getting the itch, the wrestling itch, and they come out in the train. And like, I came out to train and came out to check out the gyms and get into this thing because of you guys. So and just seeing that, and we're just starting. We're just like thinking long term. It's like,
it's crazy, man.
Sky's not even the limit.
Absolutely.
So that's what basically brought the whole Dynasty thing together. It's just the stars all
Just
aligned.
It's just natural.
Everything all aligned, and then just the whole image together. It's just, we want the same ideology of making a statement in and out of the ring. With Sway as well, he's making gear. Sway made my gear. This is even before being part of Dynasty. I reach up to Sway. I know that he's such a talented individual. Just representation, want to showcase that, bring it all in-house and keep it all in-house, you know what I mean? And everything all aligned. We came back full circle.
Right on. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. It's especially when you get to team up with people you're friends with. You have so much in common, the culture, all that. It's like we hear stories of teams who hated each other in the past.
And then they had to build that relationship. For us, like, we don't have those hurdles. We have a clear understanding, clear communication. If I don't like something, I'll voice it. He don't like anything, we'll voice it. We have a clear vision on where we want to take this. We have the same individual vision for ourselves and our own character. Because Jaxon's his own individual. He eventually, if he gets picked up, does his own thing. He's going to do his own thing. Likewise for myself. If we get picked up as a group, as a duo, me managing him, we already know it's still love, and the support's still going to be there no matter what. And even on their individual ventures, whether Sway's doing gear work for other people, we're showcasing that, supporting that. Whether Jackson's working on other promotions and getting his reps in places outside of Battle Arts, supporting that as well, and likewise for myself.
So let's talk about who's been the biggest people you've worked with, and who are your dream matches. You can give a couple answers.
I'd say, like, not even just biggest people. Do you mean biggest people in ring, or just like even training as well?
Yeah, you could pull in training if you. And then when we pick in the ones who you want to work with, you can include people retired or passed away too. In that list.
Just people like just being in the ring with Serena Deeb.
For her
seminar, which is like, such an honor.
That crowns that moment right there.
Learning some drills with her, learning chain wrestling with her, was just such an honor. And then afterwards, her giving me advice on like what I should do to kind of like, slow things down, how I can incorporate my amateur wrestling into professional wrestling. Just like working with her was such a good, huge honor. Josh Alexander as well, running drills with him giving me some advice. And yeah, also, like I said earlier, working with Rip Impact, who's just such a amazing guy and a fantastic wrestler. Chain wrestling with him was an amazing experience as well. And also just like working with some of our veterans at Battle Arts, like Stan Smith, Carew, John Gonzalez, who I actually had my first match with. He taught me a lot. Very fun guy to work with. I would say, just with those guys, being in the ring with those guys was just a great experience, and I've learned a lot from them.
Man, for me, like, it even goes back to like my first seminar, even before like Battle Arts. My first seminar going to Smash Wrestling, it was SummerSlam 2019 when they're out here in Toronto. This was like, I'll hold this to my heart forever. Going in there thinking that it was going to be a beginner's class wasn't the case. You had guys that were all working the Smash shows like Brett Banks, Vader Scott, Chris Hero, Like the list goes on. Sebastian Suave was the person that hosted the seminar, but the guest teacher was Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh wow!
So that was my first like actual experience actually in the ring, putting together drills, putting together plays together. And when, like I said, when I got there, I thought it was like a beginner class. So like I thought like everybody's gonna be on the same level as me. Let's do it. Nah, that wasn't the case. People already had experience. People already knew certain people. So when they told people to partner up, people already partnered up with certain people. And I was like, yo, the only man on the bench, last one to be picked. I'm like, okay, this is life, pro wrestling. But like again, there's people there that are very warming and welcoming, like Frankie the Mobster, household name out in the GTA independent talent. He was very warming, big dude, but he was very, very warming and bringing us in and showing us the rope backstage and showing us how the layout of the match cards work and stuff like that. And Zack Sabre Jr. just taking the chance. He's like, just come in the ring with me, come work. And so everybody else is outside working with each other, but this is an opportunity where I'm basically standing out because I'm working with Zack Sabre Jr. Nobody else is doing this. I am. So took advantage of that. He showed me different drills, different submission holds and stuff like that I still hold in this day that I don't really show. I kind of show it off in training every now and then, but I keep it in the bank just for when the time is right. So like he's helped even just lock up. He showed me how to just call an L lock up properly. So he was the one that first showed me how to do it properly. And then going into battle arts, just being able to get the chance to learn from Anthony Corelli, Santino Marella, who's been 10 years in with WWE, knows the WWE programming, you know what I mean? Coach Nick, who's in and out doing PC work, helping out, teaching there. Coach Rob, who's done tours in Japan, who can give us, you know, little tips on how to get out there and go out for these excursions and what that experience is like. Rip Impact is another one, big opportunity. The list goes on. Like I said, like the household names that come in and out, just doing little ring work, helping out for Destiny, where you get an Impact, where you get to meet like Matt Sydal or John Morrison. Getting little Taya Valkyrie, just learning a little bit from them. Ref seminars, even though like reffing isn't my thing, but just going to learn how to work with a referee in the ring and learning the ropes on how to communicate not only with the crowd, your wrestler, but the referee as well, so you know about your surroundings. That was a big thing, and learning under Jimmy Corderas, who is a household name in pro wrestling, a legend. So the list goes on, man. The list it's an endless, and the list will continuously be added as we grow. But yeah, like it's beautiful experience. Bollywood Boys, that's another one. Learning tag team psychology with the Bollywood Boys. Josh Alexander, Serena Deeb looking at us and telling us that she knows what we need to work on, and stop overthinking. Just go ahead and do it. And seeing in her eyes that she has faith in us, and knows that she sees something in us, and knows that like we can invest if we just invest in ourselves, stop overthinking, stop doubting ourselves. That it's endless possibilities. Just asks me to just continuously add more lists to that name to people that I want to work with and learn from.
Right on. I think you asked like who do we like to work with. I think right now a person I would really like to work with is Silk. Silk is just so similar in the ring, like kind of has that athletic style. So I like training with him. I like running the ropes with him, doing different drills with him. So for me to actually, the intensity as well. So for me to actually have a match with Silk would be a great experience. So Silk, I'm coming for you, bro.
Me personally, I just want us to start to make those nice loops consistently that independence. There's so many amazing Canadian talents out here that have kind of been trapped because of the lockdown as well, you know what I mean? So it kind of will work for our benefit as well because they're still here.
That's
true.
So
we'll be able to work with those guys before they end up leaving and going off stateside and end up getting signed off elsewhere. So that's a beautiful experience as well. There's various different destinations that I would love to wrestle under the lights of. Definitely we're doing stuff for HWE. Eventually our goal would be Destiny. Impact Wrestling. That's a definite goal for us.
Absolutely.
HPW under the Rip Impact and helping out with Rip Impact and that side and making the loops around the scene. New promotion out now, OTT is out now. Only the toughest. Big shout out to Coach Nick and Donnie. They're running that. They have a big show coming out this week. Coming on May 7th. Saturday. Big show. This is gonna be headlined by Eric Redbeard and Bulldog Jr. Harry Smith. So that's gonna be an epic moment. So it's like the industry is continuously evolving. As the pandemic has settled over and things are settled down now, you're seeing American talent start to come over as well too. So my goal personally for me would be not only to get to some of these destination spots that are household independents throughout Toronto and the GTA, but also make that trip stateside and start to carry the banner stateside and make some loops and reps out there. Like that. Those are some goals, and like I said, want to add some more big names to that list. Not only inspire me to perfect this craft, but to elevate my skill in that ring as well. Showtime.
So, I have one other question I ask all my guests. You guys are Jamaican, so you should know that. Where is the best place to get a Jamaican beef patty in Toronto?
Bro, shout out to my place, Islington Station. Best place to get a Jamaican patty, Islington Station or Bathurst Station. That's for me. That's my answer. I don't know about you, but shout out to Islington Station. That's my home. That's where I'm from. I'm from Etobicoke.
Right on.
So I gotta say Islington.
I tell is vital. I don't eat no meats, no beef, no pork on my fork.
Okay.
So that's a challenge that I'm having as well, because I lost a lot of weight because I used to be a lot more bulky, a lot more bigger. But I lost a lot of weight because I don't eat meat. So doing that transition in pro wrestling now, you're trying to bulk back up. So that's the thing that I might need some more beef patties. I might have to hit that station. But, I got you. But no, when I did used to try out on some beef patties, about like 7-8 years ago, it was definitely Rasta Pasta over here.
Oh yeah.
You heard it in the studio. And Mr. Jerk. The original Mr. Jerk.
Original Mr. Definitely.
That's why there is a line. Like, a line around the whole shop.
That's true. That is true.
So, those are my go-to places. But yeah, like for me, veggie head. So that's not even as much as I used to love it. It's veggie patties for me.
Okay, well, I have a show called Fat Kid Tuesday. I haven't tried a lot of vegetarian places. So recommend me restaurants. What would be the two restaurants you guys would recommend me?
It's hard because like a lot of places could be hit or miss. You know what I mean? Especially like vegetarian food. Like Fresh used to be booming. Fresh used to be good, but now it's kind of depending on the location that you go to. It's usually like I personally like to go to certain locations and just see what's on your vegetarian menu.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then try those things out. Like if I, for example, big up Rasta Pasta, if I'm going to go there, I'm going to get me a veggie lasagna, some rice and peas, steamed vegetables, mix that bad boy up. I might cheat with a little jerk sauce on top. But yeah, that's usually, and coleslaw, exactly. Coleslaw on top, and you shake that bad boy up, and you just dig in. But that's usually like my go-to, you know what I mean? Especially bulking time.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
What's your favorite? It doesn't have to be vegetarian.
Wow. I don't even know. I would probably say, like, I used to go to, what's it called? Thrive Organic? I think it's called Thrive Organic Shop. I used to get a lot of, what are those quesadillas, these veggie quesadillas there. So I used to go and eat that. I guess I would recommend that. I don't know much about veggie stuff.
No, it doesn't have to be vegetarian. Just like your preference.
What's your preference? What do you like to chow down?
Jamaican food, you already know, rice and peas, oxtail, a little bit of coleslaw. And I also like Chinese food as well. I love Chinese food.
Right on.
So there's a nice spot near Royal York Station. Shout out to Dragon. I think it's called Dragon Garden. Dragon Garden, very nice spot. Been going there for years. Very nice Chinese food. So I would just say Chinese food, Jamaican food for me, man.
Right on, right
Yeah,
on.
I'm worldwide. They everything you can get anything. Whether it's Italian, Jamaican, anything you
Italian
want,
food, too.
anything you want in my household, it's there. So like even eating out, I'm very picky when I eat out. If it ain't made with love, I ain't having it.
Yeah, sir.
You know what
That's
I
true,
mean?
that's true.
So that's the key thing right there.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up, where do you guys see yourself in 5 years in the game?
Where do we see ourselves in summer? Let alone the way the world's going. You know what I mean?
It's a tough question. You want to go first?
First off, we got Coronation Volume 2.
Yeah. So we have Coronation Volume 2 coming up.
Yeah.
It's coming May 14th at Battle Arts Academy.
Don Koloff Arena, Mississauga City, Mississauga.
I will be in the Rising Stars Championship Tournament.
Oh, right on.
And I'm going against Sexy Stan Smith, a guy who I've tapped out in my debut.
Oh, nice.
And I will do it again.
Right on.
I will do it again.
And we're going to go back to back because it's not only the semis, but it's the finals. You see, we're
finals.
going to be
Yes.
we're gonna be crowning the first ever Rising Stars champion.
Okay.
So you
okay.
see, Battle Arts already has their set of championships. The Battle Arts Pro Championships. So you have your Battle Arts Champion, Battle Arts Light Heavyweight Champion, Battle Arts Tag Team Champion, Battle Arts Women's Champion. But you see, now with the restart and the rebranding of Rising Stars, what's happening now is they're starting a whole new set of divisions. So some new championships are coming out.
Yeah.
So Coronation Volume 1 was the start and the displayment of the championship. I kind of talked myself under the table there, and I got myself in a little bit of trouble. Counted myself out. But Sway, Jaxon, Roy went into that tournament, and they were gunning the takeover. We got in a little bit of trouble. Sway ended up getting eliminated. The whole point was us to take over and be a dynasty takeover. But we're still in there. Jackson's gonna take it in.
Right on.
He's gonna go for two for two. So we got
Right on.
there's 2 matches in one night.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work. I will be there by his side playing in that role, and we will be collecting
Yeah, I'm here
that
to
Rising Stars Championship to Dynasty.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
it's going down May 14th, Coronation Volume 2. I may or may not be also in that ring. I might get in some action as well, but
never
the
know,
key focus right now
Yeah.
is to get that Rising Stars Championship on Jaxon Roy.
Yeah.
Right on.
You know, so that's the goal for us for May 14th. But 5 years down the line, like I said, like the goal is to start making big waves. Not only 5 years, but we're thinking like within this whole year alone.
Yeah.
We're trying to really make some rounds, whether not only in the Canadian independence, but we'd love to make the trip stateside.
And just like work with like several different promotions.
Yeah.
And just get our name out there.
Yeah.
Just keep training, keep doing our thing, and
Just
just
building,
building,
and
going
just building.
stateside.
Yeah, so like that'd be the goal from taking over the Canadian independence.
Yeah.
First,
Get that. Where our names already starting to bubble. We're already starting to be in the mix of conversation here. But our whole goal is to be undeniable, create history, and leave a legacy. And that's the goal that we want to not only do for Canadian independence, but throughout pro wrestling as a whole.
Yeah.
So that's the direction we want to go in. Not only take over Rising Stars, take over the Canadian independence, go over stateside. Got homies out at AWR, do stuff out there, whether it's ROH, because ROH is back now.
Yeah.
So there's many promotions starting to go on. The IWTV, Independent Wrestling Television Networks going on
Yeah, I heard
now.
about that.
So you have a whole bunch of independent promotions worldwide that are just booming right now. So that would be the goal for us individually and collectively as Dynasty. To really take this worldwide.
Just change the game.
Yeah.
Change the game. Change the culture. That's what we're here to do.
Here to do, hey man, if you end up on Impact, you already know it started from grassroots, from Battle Arts right to Impact, and we called it right here on Down the Talk.
Right on. I will be there. I will be there cheering you guys on wearing your merch.
I appreciate you.
the support.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
So you got Impact on the radar. So which one of the big three would you guys say is the biggest one on the radar? AEW, WWE, New Japan.
Ooh.
Which one is your
Yeah, because
preference?
it's true because like Impact is kind of in the backyard for us, so it's like it's homegrown.
Yeah.
So in a way, if we keep working, we keep our hard work at it, we keep building, get some reps, especially with Destiny's relationship with Impact, we can potentially find ourselves in a position if the stars align and everything, and we stay consistent, stay hardworking at it. I can definitely see us being on Impact or doing some stuff on Impact Wrestling 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah.
But me personally, if I was to choose, I would preferably either go New Japan Strong, New Japan Lane, and AEW, because that relationship's already there. AEW and New Japan are already working hand in hand together, and there's the open door for ROH. I'm from that era, watching that whole independent scene flourish. Yeah. I already know how the inner workings of WWE is, and one hand may not feed the other. Yeah, you know what I mean? So the gamble is always up in the air, and I feel like you really have to grind and build your name and build your stock before you take that WWE trademark and name and foliage. It's a lot of pressure with the WWE name, you know what I mean?
It is.
So I feel like you really have to have a clear direction where you want to see your career in a WWE ring and when that trip is over. Because you see a lot of people go to WWE, that trip ends, and then what happens after that?
This is true.
Is that hunger still there? I never want to be in that position where I end up going to the top of any career, any venture, and then it all ends, and then you feel like it wasn't worth it, or you know what I mean, or you feel hurt from it. No, I always want to create some sort of foundation and base for myself. So like I said, the independence will always be something where I'm going to cherish home for myself, and I always put over. So like I said, I want to do this grassroots. Start from the bottom, work our way up to the get our reps, go through Impact, get our way into New Japan, you know what I mean? Get that AEW. If a WWE comes around, if it happens, it happens. But it's not putting all my eggs in that basket, you know what I mean? So wherever the universe takes.
Exactly. Right. Yeah, I would say the same thing. You know, just I would love to work in New Japan, just with their strong style, something I would love to, you know, be a part of. Like you said, like Impact's in our back door. I'd love to be on Impact, work there, work with some of the guys that are also just like, you know, mix it up with Josh Alexander.
That'd be
beautiful. That'd be great for me.
Teacher to student type of vibe.
Yeah, exactly. AEW as well. Ultimately, if WWE comes around, you know, I grew up watching it. Like I said, I grew up watching WWE. So it's a childhood dream of mine. So if WWE does come around, I definitely take that opportunity. So yeah, just seeing like what comes for us, and wherever this leads us, we're just here to just
taking it moment by moment, cherishing every moment, cherishing every opportunity. That's like I said, we're here to leave a legacy, create history, and leave a legacy. And any opportunity that we get, any territory that we get our opportunities in, we're gonna do just that.
Right on. Like definitely why I reached out. I see you guys in Impact. That's why I reached out to you. Like, I was there when Josh Alexander debuted in Rebel. When the North sold up, I was one of those guys screaming walking weapon when he walked out that out. So it's just like, I see you guys get in there. That's why I wanted to have you guys where you're still in the indies. Right. So one day when you guys are on TV, I'll be with my kids and be like, I interviewed those guys once.
That's dope. I appreciate it. That's love. That's love. And like I said, those are goals. Like I said, like if these things happen and they align, it's the icing on the cake. But we are enjoying this journey. We're making the most of this journey, and we're just, like I said, we're gonna leave a legacy. That's what Dynasty is about.
That's what all we're about. You know?
So, wrap it up. Where can everyone find you guys on social media?
So you can find me at Jaxon Roy, Jaxon_Roy on Instagram, Jaxon_Roy on Twitter. And yeah, that's where you can find me. Also, you can find the Rising Stars 2.0 page on Instagram. That's just at Rising Stars 2.0. Give that a follow. You can, you know, see all the guys, all the roster on that page, and just see what we're up to.
See the progress, see the work that everybody's putting in with Rising Stars 2.0.
Battle Arts Academy as well. The Battle Arts Academy BAA on Instagram. You can follow that as well.
Yeah. For me, I am Mikey Truth on all social media, IG, Twitter. You can find me all on there. Again, we got Coronation Volume 2 coming up May 14th, where you'll see us in action, Dynasty in action. OTT this coming weekend, May 7th. Tap in, OTT Wrestling. Tap in on there, get your tickets for OTT, get your tickets for the Coronation Volume 2. Follow the journey of Dynasty. Hit up Sway Archer as well if you're looking for wrestling gear, Sway Archer Apparel. Sway Archer on all social media as well. And yeah, yourself, I am Mikey Truth, all social media.
Thank you guys so much for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure having you guys on the show.
Thank you so much. It's a
Looking
pleasure.
forward to having you guys back. We have a lot of series coming on, so I'll probably try to bribe you guys to come on some of the projects I'm working on eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely, it'd be a pleasure. Definitely would be back. Bring some championship to join the spinner belt.
absolutely.
Join the spinner belt.
My title right here.
Yeah.
Rise to
You know
Stars
what I
title
mean?
right there,
We'll bring a whole collection of championships next time.
Of
So
course.
Oh,
we
yeah.
definitely look forward. Thank you again. Bring us on the Down to Talk.
Thank you so much.
Stay good, peeps, and keep it blitz.
You know how to get the rest of the world in the mix. The urban franchise, Tony Montana. Gonna sit at the desk for guessing. Show you what they're about to. Tell you who they are. Let them promote what they got going on. And show you guys how awesome they are. Cause if they weren't awesome, they wouldn't be on the show. It is Down to Talk with Tony Montana, baby. We have the most, and 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 we have the most.